What's up, guys? Scotty2 Hockey here, aka the Average Hockey Fan, once again. And with Montreal hockey just over a month away to the regular season, a couple days away to the preseason, and the Habs rookie tournament first game was yesterday, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Habs, my expectations personally as a fan coming into this season, and reflect a little bit on my expectations from last season. First, I'd like to talk about last season. Coming into last season for the Montreal Canadiens, most of us, even the diehard Habs fans, did not think the Habs were going to be a competitive team, did not think they were going to compete for a playoff spot, especially all the way to the end of the season and just missed by 2 points. A lot of Habs fans were upset with the Galchenyuk trade. They did not think Max Domi was going to be half as good as what he was, for a good reason. He only had just over 40 points and 9 goals, 5 of them were empty netters in Arizona. Nobody foresaw him coming to Montreal, being the second line center, scoring over 20 goals, almost 30 goals, and putting up 72 points and being the leading point scorer of the Montreal Canadiens. So obviously that worked out. But last year, going into the season, all I was thinking in my head was they traded away Max Pacioretty, they traded away Alex Galchenyuk for two players that are going to come in and play now in Thomas Tatar and Max Domi. And in my opinion, I thought they gave away too many goals on a team that was low scoring the year before. I did not expect much from them. I had concerns about Carey Price. Shea Weber was still injured. I thought Carey Price was going to have a rough start to the season, like he kind of did, but the team played well in front of him. And then the season started, and it was absolutely amazing from the get-go. Jonathan Drouin and Max Domi had amazing chemistry. Jeff Petrie, he was doing a very good job for Shea Weber, not so much protecting his goalie, not so much on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. And the Habs were bailing Price out for once. The story of Montreal for the past 5 or 6 years has always been Carey Price bails the Habs out. Carey Price drags the Habs into the playoffs. Well, if the Habs had to make the playoffs this year, for the first 20 or 30 games, it was the Habs bailing Carey Price out. And then Shea Weber came back. He was absolutely excellent. Came back, made an immediate impact. I kind of find it funny how Toronto Maple Leafs blame William Nylander's 6 month layoff for his poor performance. William Nylander is a lot younger than Shea Weber, and he missed 6 months due to his contract dispute, or however much it was. He didn't play hockey for 6 months, and he came back in and he had a really poor half of a season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Shea Weber came back off a pretty much a year-long layoff. Most of last season and most of the prior season and 25 games of last season, he came back in with after a foot injury and had an immediate impact. So what can Toronto fans say about William Nylander there? If a 30-odd-year-old Shea Weber can come back after missing a year, immediately put up points, immediately have an impact, immediately help Carey Price, help the possession numbers go up, help the goals against go down, and help the save percentage come up, there's no excuse for William Nylander. And it really just shows how much of a beast Shea Weber is. So last season, everything worked out well. A lot of the players had career highs. Max Domi, Jonathan Drouin. Jonathan Drouin had a career high, but he still struggled at the end of the season. He did not put up many points. He had like 7 points in the last 26 games or something, but he still had a career high in points. He matched his career high. The top line, every single one of the top line players had career high in plus, minus, and in points. Thomas Tatar was a plus 17, Brendan Gallagher was a plus 10, and Philip Deneau was a plus 21. So last year, everything worked out well. They did miss the playoffs by 2 points, but they showed how good of a team they really are. And coming into this year, it's night and day different from the expectations I had last year. I firmly believe the Montreal Canadiens will make the playoffs this year. Columbus is a shell of the team they were last year. Carolina lost their leader, an excellent backup goalie who shouldered half the load in McElhaney. There's two wildcard spots that the Habs should have open that they should be able to get this year. I think it's going to be Florida and Montreal getting the two wildcard spots. I think only 3 teams from the Metro are going to make it and 5 from the Atlantic Division. I expect Ron Palin to come in, have an immediate impact for the Habs. I think he's going to be third or fourth line center, a depth center, and if he plays really well, make his way up the lineup. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, I think this is going to be the year. This is going to be one hell of a sophomore year for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. It may be a bit of high expectations, but I'm expecting 55 to 60 points and much. He's excellent on the defensive end, but I'm expecting even much better defense. He looks like a guy who's going to be one hell of a defensive center in his career. There's reasons why he draws Barkov and Kopitar comparisons. Another young player who can come up and make an impact for the Habs this year is Nick Suzuki. He may start in Laval, but at some point this year, I do expect to see him in Montreal. He's a very dynamic young player, over 100-point player in the OHL, should help the power play. I don't know if he's going to come in and immediately contribute on the defensive end. His hockey IQ was beyond his years, but he does need a bit of work on the defensive end. But on the offensive end, he should be a firecracker. Now we look at the depth. The depth is pretty good. The fourth line is probably going to be somebody like Nate Thompson, Paul Byron, or Nick Cousins, guys like that. The third line, in my opinion, should be KK, Lehkonen, and possibly Armia on the right wing, maybe Jordan Wheel on the right wing, and Paling, it may be Paling as the third line center. It could be KK as the second line center. Who knows? But I do expect to see two of those young players in the opening lineup for the Montreal Canadiens this year. So just a casual talk about the Habs. And as for the defense, I really like the addition of Ben Sherratt. They have two good net fronts presence on the Habs now. I really like the first line of Victor Mete and Shea Weber. They complemented each other well, and I liked Brett Kulak and Jeff Petrie and Jordy Penn and Jeff Petrie when they played together. But on the defensive end, they weren't the best. Offensively, they clicked pretty well together, but on the defensive end, they weren't the best. I really like the defense, and I think it's going to help Carey Price a lot. Now, as for the goaltending, Keith Kincaid struggled a ton last year. They played him way too much, but the year prior, he had a good goals against, a good save percentage. If he can get back to that Keith Kincaid, he should be able to pull out 15 wins out of the 25 starts I think he's going to get personally. And at last but not least, Carey Price. I think Carey Price is going to have an amazing year. With the addition of Ben Sherratt clearing the traffic in front of the net, if Price sees it, he stops it. The best goalie in the world, in my opinion. Him and Andrei Vasilevskiy are neck and neck for the best goalie in the world, in my opinion. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know your expectations for this season, and let's talk hockey. Let's talk Habs. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and of course, have a great day. Scotty2Hockey, over and out.